Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. My name is Jimmy Lee. I'm the production manager at the Open Center. I'll be hosting with you today. Very happy you're here, and we're very happy to be here for this presentation from Ed Schloeman and Operation Warrior Shield and quite a few other luminaries. You'll get to meet them in a little bit. If this is your first time with us, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Open Center. The Open Center is the country's longest running urban holistic center and has been a home for spiritual practice in New York City since 1984. We provide a safe place for people to heal the body, nourish the soul, and awaken the spirit, and now we've extended that place into this online space, so welcome. We're very pleased to be collaborating on this program with Ed Schloeman and Operation Warrior Shield. Operation Warrior Shield provides comprehensive support programs for service members, veterans, first responders, and their families, and these are focused on transition, health and wellness, employment, prevention of homelessness, peer engagement, and connections to community resources. The emphasis is to help heal the hidden wounds. So now I'd like to leave it over to Ed Schloeman.
Well, thank you again, Jimmy, for what you are doing for us here and for the introduction of Operation Warrior Shield. I am retired Chief Master Sergeant Ed Schloeman, Chairman of Operation Warrior Shield, and your host for today's virtual seminar to discuss stress, its impact on our community, and how do we create that safe landing zone for our community and for our first responders. We are honored today to be joined by a great group of friends and celebrities. And right now, I'd like to introduce Borough President Eric Adams, NYPD's Chief of Brooklyn South, Deputy Chief Charles Scholl, Army veteran and former White House chef Andre Rush, and our moderator, Ross Cutler of the New York Open Center, who shall introduce our speakers, Dr. Robert Wright and Mr. Brett Cotter. So it's now my great privilege to welcome Borough President Eric Adams.
Thank you so much, Ed. And this is such an important conversation. I want to thank the Open Center and Operation Warrior Shields. This is a conversation we've engaged in for quite some time. It's hard for people to really understand the impact.
Is your video on? Okay.
Am I coming through clear?
You are, sir.
Yes, as I was stating, it's hard for people to really understand the impact of what stress does internally. We spend so much time on our physical presence that we don't understand the corrosive impact of being in a perpetual stressful environment. We know our bodies are hardwired to deal with fight and flight. And when we in that state, all of the blood goes to the major muscles to allow us to be able to escape or to fight to protect ourselves. Those were during the days when we were running from lions, tigers, and bears as early times in man's creation. But now that everyday hardwiring has basically turned against us, we go into fight and flight mode when someone cuts us off, when we get in a debate with our superiors at our place of employment, when we have confrontation with our spouses, our children, or when things just don't go right with us, and that's every day. Instead of embracing the concept of how do you stay in that state, what Operation Warrior Shields and the Open Center has been successful in doing is showing how do you do internal healing. And I know the importance of that from my days of being a police officer. When I retired as a captain after 22 years, I had so many memories of what it was being in the city during some of the most dangerous times to be a police officer or a law enforcement officer. I had to learn how to turn down the noise, how to start the process of healing. Meditation has shown me to do that in an effective way. And so I want to thank Ed for all of his commitment to bringing this to not only the military, but also to the men and women in our law enforcement community. We have to start healing internally. And that is the roadmap that we need as we move forward to find the holistic approach to deal with the ailments that many of us are experiencing every day. I know what meditation has done for me And I know if we continue to engage in this conversation, how it would help so many who are looking for an alternative method of dealing with the everyday stress of life. Again, Ed and Open Center, thank you so much for allowing me to participate in this forum.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, we have a couple special guests. One of them is coming in from Los Angeles. Joining us is Chef Andre Rush, who is a retired Army Master Sergeant and who is highly decorated. Among his many awards are the Legion of Merit and the Bronze Star. He has been deployed many times, and he also has served 4 presidential administrations as the White House chef. And he was a member of the United States Culinary Arts Team, where he won over 150 awards for his excellence in culinary work. So welcome, my dear friend, Andre, Chef.
And it's a pleasure, absolutely pleasure to be here. I'm honored to be here today, and thank you so much for the invite. And the whole entire panel is just absolutely incredible, and it's especially to kind of caveat what you were saying about stress. And that's my whole platform about what I do and how I do it on a stressful platform. The thing about stress, and I'll just reiterate again, is that it is basically toxic. I mean, when you say toxic, like you said, internally, externally, it's toxic to yourself, it's toxic to others, to your kids, your environment. You know, I do meditation. I'm a big believer in meditation. As he said, I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I meditate, then I roll over and I do 2,222 push-ups a day. And that is for my cause and a reason for suicide awareness prevention, which also goes on that stress factor within civilian community, military community. It doesn't matter, but now I kind of focus it more so towards on kids, because the demographics are so much different from when we were younger, we were growing up. Like you said, that fight and flight, everything has changed, even in the military spectrum, where people don't understand those stress levels. My stress level is high, and us getting in front of people and trying to talk about it, and we kind of put a facade, and then behind the scenes, we argue with our wives, our kids, they're going through things as well. We take things and we'll say, you know, suck it up. You know, I talk to about 20,000 military and also 10,000 kids at the same time. Even my nonprofit is for the same thing, that is about well-being and mental health and trying to keep everyone together and understanding the importance of what it is on your body, especially being holistic. So of course I use physical fitness, but one of my foundations is what I found a very long time ago unconsciously, besides meditation, was cooking. So that's why people know me for my cooking. I do things to make you feel good. I use cooking to cope. It was one of the programs I started with the Wounded Warriors, where I took all these alpha males and alpha females, of course, and I brought them a bunch of different things, just a bunch of food, and say, make me something. No recipes, no rhythm, no rhyme, just crazy. And it was just a kind of like muscle confusion, memory confusion, brain confusion. And after, you know, a couple of days, it just became, well, actually the first day, it just became fun. That way it integrated their spouses, integrated their kids. And that's just one of the things that I use that you can actually turn around and use for yourself and your families and your kids to kind of get them to understand it. But again, that goes along with a conversation, because I tell people all the time, as far as stress, it's easy to become angry. Very simple. It's hard to put a smile on your face sometimes, right? Someone that cut you off, you gotta kind of think outside of the box. I use it where you do this reverse psychology. I say, hey, maybe that person was in a hurry. Maybe they have a life-threatening injury. Maybe something has happened to them. You know, I tell people I feed off of positivity, but I feed off of negativity 1,000 times more. The reason why is because people say, oh, my circle is very small. I said, my circle is not small. My circle is huge, and it's getting bigger and bigger. I just push out everything that's toxic to let everybody else in, because I'm going to grow, and I want people to grow with me. Right? I don't want a small circle. I want a huge circle. And the thing about that is that you're going to get upset regardless. There's too much negativity in this world, especially now. You have COVID, you have all these different things that's happening and whatnot. You have to find a way to make that work for you. my negativity I use for myself at my advantage 1,000 times more. I have to turn it around because it's prevalent. It's gonna be there before I see a smile. It can be somebody just turn around, and even much so, I take it even further where you can be that person to make the negative energy around you turn to positive. Just smile at someone, say hello. Everybody's in a hurry. Everybody has an attitude. You know, after they opened up with the COVID, we went back to the exact same thing. Everybody in a rush for no reason. You weren't going anywhere for the last 4, 5, 6 months. Now everybody's in a rush to go right 10 meters ahead of me. And it doesn't make any sense. And I just kind of laugh at it because you could cause serious harm, injury to yourself, to others, and just people just need to think for a second. When I say people, I mean us, because sometimes we do become complacent, entitled, and sometimes we become ungrateful because we are living in the greatest country in this world and everything is given to us, and it's up to us to take advantage of that. And so this time during the COVID, I started things with financial advisement, started things with mental health awareness, and just talking to any and every person that will listen and hope that they will do a domino effect and just to spread everything that I'm teaching to them as they teach things to me. So I do my positivity by feeding off of what I'm doing right now. Everybody on this panel is my comfort, is my coping tool. You know, of course, along with food and a couple push-ups, but this is what I do all the time, every day. So it is absolutely, I can talk about this all day and night if you didn't know, but I also have to laugh because this is what I do 24/7. I live and breathe it because some people have a mission in life, right? I take that back. Every person has a mission in life. Some people don't know what their missions are, and sometimes they accidentally run into it. Even me, myself, I said I want to be this, and even a chef, being a chef, which I love to death, but I put a chef uniform on just to keep me humble. I mean, I have many degrees. You know, I've done the accolades, like Ed said, with the Peace Medal, with the resolution from the state of California, Peace Medal from the King of Belgium, you know, PhD and all these other things. And I never mention it because I want people to look and have a shock and think about that person and look at me and then say, wow, that guy or that woman or whoever it is helping someone. So again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. And I'll let the next person talk a little bit more than I do.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time. And Borough President Adams, we owe him 2 pizzas from Brooklyn. That's his payment.
Big pieces, big pieces.
So that's going to happen. I promise him. Again, thank you so very much, sir. Deputy Chief Charles Scholl has spent 41 years patrolling the streets of Brooklyn and caring as an executive officer of Patrol Borough Brooklyn South, where he ensures that the police officers assigned to Brooklyn precincts are properly trained and supported. It is our honor to have such a distinguished police officer in our presence, and I really thank you so much, Chief, for sharing this afternoon with us.
Thank you, Ed, and thank the Operation Warrior Shield for your putting this together. As always, Mr. Borough President, you're a big supporter of the people of Brooklyn and the NYPD, and the Open Center, thank you for your help also. It's inherent when a person becomes a police officer, they know they're going to deal with stress. But in the last few months, that's come tenfold with the pandemic of COVID-19, where the officers have to deal with what's going on, worrying about getting themselves sick, their family sick, dealing with their own personal problems. It's very, very stressful. That coupled with at 7 o'clock every night getting applauded to weeks later being spit at, cursed at, having things thrown at, some of these officers didn't sign up for that. And the stress level is exorbitant. So anything that can be done to alleviate that is appreciated. We've lost many members to COVID, from the civilian ranks to 3-star chiefs. It's forced people to think about retirement, which is another stressful event in a person's life. We had a 1-star chief 40 years, had everything go from, he had to face retirement, and he took his own life. So there's so many variables in law enforcement dealing with stress. Anything we can do to help that out would be appreciated. The NYPD has a tremendous health and wellness section. We want to make getting help stigma-free, but sometimes officers are apprehensive to go internally. So maybe this seminar today will give them another venue to deal with this situation, and they can get the assistance they truly and well deserve. So thank you, Ed, for putting this together.
Well, thank you, sir. And yes, you know, in Vietnam, we didn't have too many safe landing zones. Even when they said they were safe, they weren't so safe. But here in New York City, we are creating those safe landing zones for our first responders, working with the NYPD Health and Wellness Center, with Sergeant Wong, also with Benjamin Ellie from, or Isle, excuse me, Ben, who we meet before this epidemic. We were meeting regularly to let police officers and first responders know that you could come to us with the Open Center was our first area, of which was pretty local for people to come to. It's our hope when things open up again, our next safe landing zone is here at Geralman Street 209, which is the borough president's borough office, where it is open to, will be open to us to be supportive for our first responders. Well, it's been great to hear from our two distinguished guests and how their feelings are about stress. And I can only imagine what you're going through now, Chief, with what's the demonstrations and everything else is. But now I'd like to present Ross Gutler, who is my partner in crime and the CEO of the New York Open Center. So Ross, take it away.
Thank you. Am I your first undistinguished guest? Thank you for allowing that. I guess it's distinguished by being the first undistinguished. You know, Ed, two things I really wanted to say is, one, it's just a pleasure working with you. I find you one of the most honorable people I've worked around, and the veterans and first responders of New York City are lucky that you're here. And frankly, they're lucky you care so freaking much, and that you put your own interests always to the side to do what is best for the people of this city. And it's incredible. So like, we all owe you a huge debt of gratitude. And it's a pleasure working with you. You're a great guy. You know, I think, so the Open Center, I represent the Open Center. We feel fortunate and blessed to be doing this work for the people of the city. And frankly, it's the backbone of the city. Ed and I have had a lot of conversation about how do you help heal a city? Well, it's the people that run the city. Who are the run the city? It's a lot of our first responders, and it's our veterans. Those are the backbone of the city. So to me, to us, those are the most important people to assist and be there for and support. You know, I just think what is so cool to me, and I had written this down, is like, you've got Chef Rush, Borough President Eric Adams, Deputy Chief Scholl. You've got three such like very different folks representing different organizations and different groups, all talking about mental health, and at a time when it's really important. So of course I'm going to be here talking about, you know, mindfulness and mental health. I run a holistic practice center. Like, that's what we do. We've been doing it longer than anybody in the country. But to have folks like Chef Rush and like Borough President Eric Adams and like Deputy Chief Scholl, to have you guys talking about this is why this is a different time than it was when we were founded in 1984. And I just want to stand here really in awe and in gratitude of that conversation's being had right now. And, you know, Ed, you and I had a chance to meet with Borough President Eric Adams down on Coney Island a few weeks ago, and we meditated there on the beach, which was a beautiful experience. And I'm glad we were invited down to do that. I feel honored we were there to do that. And I feel the same about being a part of today. So without further ado, I want to introduce the two speakers that we have, and I'll let them talk about themselves. Cotter and Dr. Wright, and Brett and I are friends. Brett and I have known each other for a bit. I love everything Brett does. I'm a huge fan of Brett. So it's always fun. We've been on a lot of panels together recently. And so it's always great to be able to introduce Brett. And then Dr. Wright, I know, does some work with the Open Center as well. So I'm honored to be a part of this, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. I think, Brett, you're up first.
Sure. First, I just want to express sincere gratitude for being here. I want to thank the Borough President, Ed, Operation Warrior Shield, Deputy Chief Scholl, Chef Rush, and the Pythons for coming out, and for Ross, and of course, my esteemed colleague, Dr. Bob Wright. So I didn't expect to hear so much on-point talk about stress from the Borough President, to the perspective that the Deputy Chief had, and Chef Rush. I mean, so much of what you guys were talking about came right out of my classes that I teach, and I was just really in awe hearing you guys.
Yeah.
So I just want to give props where they're due. You guys are right on, and this is what people need to hear.
This way.
So I want to introduce a new topic, or a new term, routine stress and repressed stress. Okay, so stress to me is just a reaction. Okay, it's our body's response to a perception of danger. Okay, it's very complicated. It's over 1,400 different reactions that happen in the body. It's super toxic, but let's just boil it down and simplify it to it's just a reaction to a perception of danger. Okay, why is there stress through the roof now, right? This is my main concern, because when our anxiety and stress goes up, our immune system goes down. Our production of white blood cells that actually kill viruses, that goes down. So right now, I want to reduce stress and anxiety so we could boost our immune system. So I'm so glad to be talking here with everybody, and especially for everyone listening at home. So routine stress is our everyday stress, right? This has gotten pushed through the roof with the heat that's been in the political discussion over the last number of years. Then you layer on top of that coronavirus. Then you lay on top of that the financial stress. Then you layer on top of that the protests, right? It's overwhelming, okay? And that brings me to repressed stress, okay? Repressed stress is all those stressful memories that we have in the back of our mind that are logged in our body, okay? That are from childhood or our teenage years that we never processed. Typically, if we didn't have all this stress in society, we would have our routine stress, our financial stress, our spouse, stress with our spouse or our kids. And that triggers our repressed stress. It actually brings up all those same emotions, okay? But right now, we're at like an 11 or a 12 out of 10 with our stress. It's overwhelming. So I want to jump right into my presentation to save time, and we're going to go through it as quickly as we can. Okay, hopefully everyone can see it. All right, so true change from the inside out. I'm going to share a process that I went through over 20 years ago to get in touch with my anger and stress and anxiety. It worked incredibly, and I tap into this process every single day, because stress doesn't totally go away. Even though my company name is Stress Is Gone, that name is there because I teach a technique that releases the stress from the body. But if you're alive on this planet, you know stress comes back, but this is how you counterattack it, okay? So right now, emotional flames burn throughout our entire society. They're fed by the fear, anger, and anxiety that we're all feeling, okay? We don't have a magic wand to change our politics, the protests, or our public health. And when I look out there, I don't see that galvanizing leader that we had 60 years ago. That tells me that purpose, that renewed presence, and that clarity is actually going to arise from within the community. Just like in the dark of night, one person at a time is going to get it. Like lights turning on across the city skyline. People are going to start to understand and learn how to listen. Being an expert on stress, this is where the key is. Learning how to listen, to understand,
Go upstairs.
okay? Currently, we listen to react or debate or try to change somebody's mind. I encourage everyone listening to this to reach out to a loved one who no longer thinks like you, right? That is quote unquote the other side. And say, I just want to understand where you're coming from. And without reacting, without debating, without trying to change their mind, just listen to understand. And you're going to be the first one to break through.
Stay over there.
Fear, anger, stress, and anxiety all block our ability to listen. For the past 20 years, I've been helping people reduce these emotions and regain that sense of clarity. I personally invite you right now to do a simple exercise with me. Put down anything else you were doing and work with me for this 1 minute. This is going to help you let go of fear, anxiety, and stress in the moment. And I want you to learn how to do that. So please just take a moment and close your eyes. And I want you to think of the one thing that makes you the most upset, the most angry, the most stressed. It could be something politically related. It could be the protest. It could be your personal health. It could be loss. It could be finances. It could be injustice. It could be the media. Whatever it is, I want you to think of that one thing. Now that you're thinking of that one thing with your eyes closed, see if you notice any tension in your body. Now I want you to place one hand on your stomach and the other hand on your chest. I want you to start breathing deep and slow. Right now, we're embracing this inner tension with your touch and your breath. Now just repeat these simple words after I say them. I unlock and release all this tension and anxiety from deep inside me, all throughout my body and my heart. Unlocked, released, and freed in every single part right now. Now I want you to continue breathing deeply and slowly, embracing that tension with your breath as it releases. Each deep, slow breath, you should feel more tension releasing from your chest. Once per breath, I want you to start saying, I'm okay, silently in the back of your mind. Follow the airflow in through your nose. Allow each breath to open up your sinuses, making it easier and easier to breathe. Breathing deeply and slowly, following the airflow a little deeper, allowing it to unlock and release all the tension from behind your eyes. Breathing deep and slow, following that airflow towards the back of your mind. Allowing all your thoughts to just unwind. Breathing deep and slow, silently saying, I'm okay. Following the airflow down your throat, allowing your lungs to fill up with life force that's held in each breath. Breathing deep and slow, allowing that life force to flow directly to your heart. Unlocking and releasing tension from every layer every part. Releasing all anxiety to a place you are free. Continue breathing deep and slow, saying, I'm okay, he's okay, she's okay, we're all okay. Okay? And open up your eyes when you're ready. So that process that I just brought you through is called stress stopper breath work. Every single time you're stressed out or upset, I want you to touch the tension, breathe deep and slow, and once per breath, silently say, I'm okay. All right? In the final words of the great John Lewis, democracy is not a state, it is an act. Each generation must do its part to help build the beloved community. So I really encourage you all to clear your anger and your stress every day so that we can embody the spirit of all the great leaders before us and remember their way of peace, nonviolence, and love. Listening to understand, to me, is personally to me, is our first step to take as a community. I encourage you to download the Stress Is Gone app. It's for free. And visit stressisgone.org for more tools. And I encourage you to take interest in your own personal health, to get underneath the stress and learn how to unlock it and release it day in and day out so you can live your highest destiny. God bless. Thank you for the time. I turn it back to you, Ed.
Were we able to get Dr. Wright?
We have, Ed.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, do we have Dr. Wright?
We do.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, sir. Ross, I thought we were going to do a little introduction. Well, Dr. Wright is a foremost expert in the stress management and is joined by Brett. And I think it's a great combination. They've worked together in the past, and I'm sure you'll be beneficial on what you hear from the good doctor. All yours, Bob.
Great. Thank you so much, Ed. First of all, I just want to say this is one of the most beautiful and wonderful events that I've ever been a participant in. And one of the measures that I use when I do something is I ask myself the question is this a good use of my time? And I just want to say that I am not only honored, but I have been touched by what each participant has said, you know, starting with Borough President Adams. I was just so impressed that each speaker spoke to stress in a very high way. You know, the deputy chief, what he expressed, you know, I think anyone seeing this could actually feel the pain and the anguish and the angst that, you know, as the deputy chief said, you know, they didn't sign up for this. And so, you know, Chef Rush, you know, when I saw his arms, I said, my goodness, you know, that's what, you know, we all need, that level of dedication and commitment to self-care. And essentially, that's what I want to talk about briefly today. It's pretty clear when we wake up in the morning that we realize that our society is in dire straits. That since the pandemic and lockdowns came around, we were stressed before, but this has ramped things up to a level that is, you know, just let's be honest, is at the insane level. And then depending on the type of work or job a person is doing, or even if you think about the children, you know, school has been disrupted, public school, the colleges have been disrupted. Almost every aspect of our lives have been thrown into chaos. And so I just want to mention to Ross that I have a connection with the New York Open Center. My wife, who is actually recently deceased, and I met at a Open Center gala at the United Nations in 2004. And also I want to say to Borough President Adams that I have a strong Brooklyn connection because my wife, my deceased wife, had served on the community planning board in Crown Heights. And so like many, I'm also still grieving her death. And so that's in part what I want to talk about is that listening to the speakers, and especially, you know, Brett, what you had to say, it's clear that that we are not just facing stress, not just facing anxiety, not just facing PTSD, not just facing chronic pain, not just facing addiction. We're not just facing grief. We often are facing all of these or some of these in combination. You know, many people are grieving and they have anxiety, or people are doing jobs like the first responders that they are close to burnout. And so one of the main things that I want to get across to anyone watching this is that think of what's going on, all the chaos and disruption, like a giant a hurricane at level 5, and you know, Katrina or Sandy type level. However, if you think about what a hurricane is, that the eye of the hurricane, in the eye of the hurricane, it is calm and it is quiet. And so, you know, unless you've been living under a rock or in a cave, it's pretty obvious that things are swirling. There's a tremendous amount of chaos. So all the research shows that when you are able to increase the locus of control in any area of your life, then your stress automatically goes down, your anxiety automatically goes down, and all other good things start to happen, such as you get the beneficial release of neurochemicals and hormones. And so what I'm going to suggest is I'm going to tell you what you already know, which is to adhere to the old airline metaphor, to put your own oxygen mask on first before assisting others. And so it's very, very clear that first responders, law enforcement, active duty military, veterans, they are all doing very, very tough jobs, very stressful jobs. And so what I'm saying to them and to you is that you cannot continue to do a very, very stressful job without consequences for your health, both mental, physical, and any other way, unless you are taking care of yourself. And so what I'm saying is that self-care is what we have to do. And so how do we do that? So the first thing is that we have to move out of denial. And we have to acknowledge that we need to take care of ourselves. You know, a lot of people are helping other people, but you know, we need to take care of ourselves. So the first thing we need to do is, once we admit that, is to figure out during this time of pause, you know, where is the serious stress management regimen that I could use, that you can use, to incorporate it into your day to bring your stress level down, your anxiety level down, etc. And so, meditation has been mentioned. That is one thing that can be done. But whether it's yoga or exercise or et cetera. I have a college buddy, Tim McChristian, who's the executive director of the Madison Square Boys Club. He has a really great exercise routine that he's been doing since college that keeps his stress down. And I've been really impressed, looking at Chef Andre, saying that he does 2,222 push-ups per day, pretty amazing. So however you do it, whether it's meditation or reflexology, or you need to find some way to knock down that habitual stress and do it consistently. Another thing, a key area, is that you have to take a look at your sleep. Many people, this pandemic has knocked their sleep totally off track. And so one of the key things keeping you from getting a good night's sleep is, can be a smartphone. The studies have shown that about 47% of people fall asleep with their phone. Why is that an issue? Because the blue wavelength light from your phone disrupts your circadian rhythm, which means that that you never can enter stages 4 and 5 of deep levels of sleep. And so you may be sleeping, but you're not going to get that full restful sleep. Ed, I have to tell you, I want to thank both you and Ann Ackers for bringing me to the table and making me aware of what's been going on and the dire need. And so I am going to change what I'm going to say, because what I see is that what people really need are practical solutions. So I want to give one quick practical solution so that people can feel better. Because I think that, seeing what Brett did, I said, wow, I really felt that. I felt better. And that's what people want. They want to feel better. So what I'm going to do is change my presentation and give the audience a very quick custom open focus exercise, which will begin to simultaneously dissolve stress, anxiety, grief, and chronic pain. Because Ed, what we're facing is not just one. A person doesn't just have stress or just have anxiety. They've got a combination. So I've been a certified open focus trainer for 15 years. And so what I've done is that I've taken the technique that Dr. Les Femi of the Princeton Biofeedback Center invented over 40 years ago, and I've customized it just for this presentation. And so I just want the audience to enjoy this very short presentation, which is going to take you to a place and show you how, when you change your attention, it can change how you feel and how you experience the world. So take a moment now to relax your posture. And when you're ready, please close your eyes. Can you imagine the space inside of your throat? And as you become aware of that space, can you simultaneously imagine that as you inhale naturally, your body begins to fill with space? And equally and simultaneously, can you imagine that as you exhale naturally, your body is left filled with space, surrounded by space, permeated by space, right where you are? Can you imagine the space inside of your mouth? And as you become aware of that space, can you imagine feeling even more deeply into the space inside of your mouth? Can you imagine the distance between the space inside of your left nostril and the space in between the toes of your right foot. Can you imagine the space in which your stress exists? And equally and simultaneously, can you also become aware of the space in which any anxiety, chronic pain, or grief you may be experiencing exists? Is it possible for you to imagine simultaneously directing your attention right into the space that connects any stress, grief, anxiety, or chronic pain you may have? Resting your attention in that space, bathing your attention in that space, while simultaneously neither rejecting, nor resisting, nor encouraging any pain, stress, anxiety, or resistance you may be feeling or experiencing. Can you imagine narrowing your focus of attention to the heart of any pain, stress, anxiety, or grief you may be experiencing? And as you become aware of the center of that pain, that stress, anxiety, where it hurts most, can you imagine your breath flowing up through that pain, stress, anxiety, or grief on the inhale? And on the exhale, can you imagine that your breath flows down and out through any stress, anxiety, and pain? And as it does so, it deconstructs that pain, it dissolves that stress, it eliminates that anxiety, and goes wherever it wants to go. Can you imagine doing this exercise 2 or more times per day? And when you're ready, please open your eyes. So I hope everyone is back. Ed, I just want to thank you and Ann Ackers, and I want to thank everyone else on this because I feel that, and I hope that this is the start of a series of events like this, because the response that I have gotten from people on Facebook and people I've mailed to my list has been overwhelming, overwhelmingly positive. So I know that this will be well received. So I want to thank you and Ann and everyone else for having me on as a speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Bob, very much for that excellent presentation. And like I indicated, for the last 10 years, we have been working with veterans, military, first responders, combating the epidemic of post-traumatic stress disorder caused by stress. I would like you to think, before we close this segment, on some statistics that you really have to think about why seminars, groups like us are here. Veteran suicides continue at a rate of 20 to 22 per month. That means since we started this seminar for the last hour, we've lost one veteran. New York City's EMS frontliners in the last 60 days have committed 3 suicides by the stressful job that they're doing day in and day out. I can't imagine wearing those masks and performing day in and day out as a EMS worker. Home violence has spiked amid the slowdown or the lockdown, being cooped up with an abusive person. 228 law enforcement suicides in the year 2010. Thank God we have lost only 3 with NYPD this year, and that is 3 too many. However, we're not on the same pace that we were in 2019, thanks to the efforts of the leadership like Chief Scholl with the high stressful rate of our NYPD guys. Our program, New Yorkers for New York, is here for everyone listening. Join our Operation Warrior Shield group. Join one another's Facebooks. Stay connected with us. Love your NYPD. Love your first responders. Love what they do for us. Love our first people that are out there, our frontliners. And I would ask that if you want to continue working with us, just contact me and I'll set us up within the borough president's office and everybody else, especially those first responders listening to this broadcast. Please contact me because we're here as well for you as you are for us. So I want to thank Jimmy. I would like to thank all those who took the time this afternoon to dial in, and especially our presenters. I just love you guys, everyone, for what you have done for us. And God bless all our heroes. With that, I say God bless you all and have a wonderful day. And let's stay in touch and break this epidemic of stress. Bye-bye.
Ed, Open Center would like to thank you. As always, a pleasure working with you. The work is so super important, and we're really pleased to be able to help you get that message out there any way we can. Thank you to all the panelists, presenters, and thank you to all of you that came and joined us. We really appreciate you taking the time for something that's important. You can also check our New Yorkers for New York website. Go to opencenter.org. You'll see a link to that. You can also find all of the programs that we're presenting online at opencenter.org. So there we have it. Thank you all very much. Have a great day, and let's continue this important work. Thank you.